In this video, I'm sharing a UX chat I had with a good friend and senior UX designer, Christien Kim. Christien is a detail-oriented designer who believes in the value of a user-centered design approach. Her experience encompasses both digital and physical solution design and providing a holistic perspective for the product development and lifecycle. Christien currently based in the Bay Area, and she is a senior UX designer at Oracle. Just wanted to, in general, thank you for doing this.
Oh, no problem.
Really awesome.
My pleasure.
I appreciate you're here. So let's just jump right into it. If you give me a little bit of your background, what did you get into user experience design, and why you like about it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Do I look at the camera or you?
You can do whatever you want.
Okay. I'll just do.
There's no rules.
Okay. Okay. So my background, I went to California College of the Arts in San Francisco. I was actually an illustration major, then studied industrial design, and then my junior year, I think I had like an early quarter life crisis. I was like, what am I doing? And then from there, CCA introduced an interaction design program, which was like really encouraging human-centered design approach and more a digital user experience versus like physical design experience. So I was like, interesting. And I took like an year detour into that course, and some of the classes started overlapping, and I was like, I'm only like 2 classes away from graduating. Let's just graduate and see what happens. And then that's how I kind of got my feet into interaction design. And then I got an internship at Intel as an interaction design intern. But they realized I had an industrial design background.
Yeah.
So all of my projects I got was very industrial design heavy.
That's pretty cool. So you were doing UX and UI for an industrial design project, basically, or?
That's what they said I was gonna do, but I was literally designing like CAD wireless chargers.
Oh wow, okay. But you were designing also the experience for that.
Yes, that's true.
Okay.
That's true. It was interesting because it was never something I really learned of like physical device UX.
Yeah.
Because you always think about like interactions of like button placements, like on a screen, on a digital screen experience. So I tried to apply the same process and methodology to it. Yeah. Which was tricky because I was just an intern, like a junior designer.
But that's really interesting. I mean, going off the questions I sent you, just your experience, I think you're coming from a really cool background that you actually, industrial design, that you know how to build hardware itself. So what did you learn in the industrial design that you basically applied in experience design and vice versa? Like if there's anything overlapped or something cool?
Yeah, I think my education in both fields always goes to like getting user feedback. Yeah. So I remember I was designing like a door handle, which we were just like, why are we designing that? And there was a lot of people just touching door handles and asking like kind of awkward questions of like, how does this feel? What do you like about it? What could be better? And I think you apply that with just user experience design in general. It's like,
nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I wanted to kind of also know, what do you think about experience design, or when you hear the term experience design, what it is to you and what you do?
So I also see as an experience designer as kind of like a holistic designer, starting with being able to practice user research, being able to do that, to creating like system flows, to like being able to execute visual design. But you don't have to be the best visual designer, you don't have to be the best researcher, but like your core is connecting those dots and being able to execute a wireframe for that.
Awesome, makes sense. I guess my next question will be, why are you in it? And I think I even wrote in the question, like not the answer you give in the interview, like why do you love experience design, and why you want to do it every day, pretty much?
I think what really drew me to experience design is, funnily enough, one of my teachers, she said she's allergic to penicillin, and then the nurse was colorblind, so they put only a tag, but he didn't read the label.
Oh, wow.
And her father is a doctor, so she had a little medical knowledge behind, and she said like, oh, don't give me that shot because I'm allergic to penicillin. And from there she said how important it is when you design a product that you design for accessibility. And for me, like growing up kind of in a traditional stereotypical Asian household, like you're either a lawyer or a doctor, right?
Yeah.
So I felt like that was the only way you can contribute and give. But hearing that example helped me feel like being a designer, you are actually helping and contributing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think most of us is like in it for helping the people, and I think it's the best way. What would you do or give advices for a designer who doesn't have a team, but they are just one-stop shop pretty much?
Downside is very I've worked at all engineering-driven companies, like they're very tech-heavy. So in a way, you are your silo.
Oh, okay.
So I guess it's just.
But we were talking earlier, like maybe the other side of it, if when you work in big companies, you do have an impact, but you still feel like you're not as impactful. And you would rather like have you face that as well.
Yeah.
In big companies, and how did you try to like get over it or come over it?
I think you have to kind of validate yourself. Like I think a product manager actually told me that you need to show like what you can actually contribute, gain trust from the team. And I feel like the only way you can really do that is just to be okay with the small changes and use that as an example for a larger change.
Yeah, that's more like a cheesy thing that I always say. So what do you say when some experienced designer like me says this experience design is a lifestyle? It's not just a job. Have you experienced that yourself?
I think so. I feel like kind of gift giving. When you think about finding a gift, you kind of look into like what does this person do? What does this person like to do? For me, I think not the worst gift, but like a non-personalized gift is a gift card. Oh, unless that person loves gift cards. I try to make sure like the gifts cater to them. And then I also get very upset or frustrated when I have a bad experience using a product or a service. And then hadn't always like, why? It's okay, just let it go. It's like, no, like if they actually had a UX designer.
That is true. Like, my wife always the same thing. I'm like, can you just like move on? Can we just like? I'm like, no, this is really not designed well. And it makes me off.
This morning I also upset because I was drinking a kombucha bottle, and then I think the print was off. So the spacing was so tight between the banner and the text. I was like, why couldn't they just check the thing before they printed?
I know these little things. But I'm pretty sure that out there, that designer who designed that, he had a very harsh deadline, so like we're all been there. So there is that's probably why like all of the designs out there look now in a way similar, because it's very minimal and the same like bright background and things like that. So would you think that this is gonna stay, or could it change in the future of the UX, like these type of designs?
I think it'll change. I think it's a trend.
Okay.
Definitely a trend, a phase.
That's cool.
Yeah, because I think like how everything has kind of like a 4-pixel radius. And before this, it was like a sharp corner. So
So in your designs, you don't follow trends, or do you follow it? But
I do. I think a lot of companies that I've been working for now have like a component library. So I kind of have to stick to those until we do a refresh.
Design systems. Cool. What's your experience designing for a design system or with design systems?
It's frustrating sometimes.
Oh, cool. I like the refreshing answer. That's awesome. No, I'm like, because everyone is going like on and on about design systems right now, and I know how important it is, but how also limiting it is sometimes. So
I think so. At my previous company, there was one designer who created the system. And I don't think he's a great designer, but I don't think he's the strongest visual designer. So I feel like some of his decisions were a bit outdated. I don't know if that's the right term. My current design system, it's not fully built. So it gets frustrating because I design based on material design or pull from that. And it's hard because you just need to get everyone aligned on it. Just to make a table.
No, absolutely. I actually did like fortunate to actually be involved in some design systems before. And I think the number one, I would say that it was really not frustrating, but it has to be a good balance between product and design system. Like it shouldn't be one-way communication, it's two-way communications. I think some teams maybe like fall into this kind of like, oh yeah, building a design system, but the communications has to happen like between the product and the design system. Otherwise, it's not gonna work, which is, you know.
Oh, also engineering. So
And engineering, of course.
I learned I learned the hard way that only the UX team built out the system.
Yeah.
And then engineering hasn't created like a one-to-one component for it.
Yeah.
Which kind of defeats the purpose in a way, I feel like. But on the UX side, everything's aligned.
What's your thoughts on consumer product design versus enterprise design? Did you design for both before? Or?
I have more enterprise experience than consumer. But whenever I was designing for enterprise, it's always like at the end, like an enterprise user is still a consumer. They're still a human.
True.
Right? And so you just have to be able to scale your designs. So I always try to like think of it as like consumer first and then scale it, which I don't know if it's even the right process or right practice to it. Because I feel like as a consumer, you use like Uber and all these like apps that you use all the time, and you expect to have the same experience interaction when you're at work logging into your workday or Gmail or something. Yeah,
that's a really good way of thinking about it, because at the end of the day, they are consumers. It just, the way they use the tool or the product is different. Like enterprise, they will probably use it for work every day, and just getting the job done, versus consumer, you're doing it for enjoyment. So that's kind of really good way of looking at it for sure. Where do you see the future of UX design? What's going to be changing, or where do you see the future of UX design going?
I think it's like being adopted by companies now. Like you see large corporations having a VP of user experience or like VP of design, which is kind of exciting. I feel like in the next 5 to 10 years, it'll just be a standard practice. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, for sure. Any other industries or specific industries you would like to design for in the future?
I've been I think ever since I started off in like an emerging technology as like my first career, I think that would be like the industry I would like to pursue, kind of like robotic surgery using AI. That is what's been on my radar or top of mind lately.
So, thank you so much for doing this. Really appreciate it.
Bye.